Look, I know their music, but I don't know their names. Ah! Oh, that got me so good.
That her?
With the wing effect.
Don't you point your finger at us, Cabo, and gaslight us. He says you saw nothing.
No.
What are you doing over here?
You little finger
Huh?
wag.
What are you doing, Cabo?
I was trying to help.
Did it say?
My body.
Okay, it does say failed.
What? What is happening to my
It
legs?
does say failed, but
Significantly more ammo. I'm being fucking choked with. I have lost my knife. I don't.
I'm gonna get murdered.
Big boys.
What you say? Oh, that you only meant well, 'cause you did.
Wow, that got me so bad. A lot of pickle juice is on my leg. Pumpkin is investigating. It smells like pickles. Oh.
According to the scanner, Bob's got a dodgy right leg. Rip it off.
His right leg or my right leg? His right leg? Because that would be this guy, right? This is just rip it off like with my hand.
Rip it good. Now quickly pop the leg in the chute.
What? I dropped it. I didn't know I needed to. I didn't really think that was gonna work. Fuck. Oh shit. Bob, your legs on. You're bleeding a lot, Bob. Oh, this is not off to a good start. Get it in there.
Great. Now use
I
the
need a
yellow
spike.
At my chamber door, 'tis some visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore.
Once upon a midnight dream. Well, I thought I can't do it all at once.
Here, you dance, I'll read.
Feel this. I'm here with Fish and Wildlife, and you are not taking care of your animals. And that's gonna have to be a citation. Delivered via knife to your throat. You know, it's okay. I know that that's not my type of gaming. It's not my strong suit. I don't mind. I had a great time. It was funny as fuck. We had a lot of really good laughs. It was excellent. Oh no. What have you done? What have you done? Oh, is Kage still doing? He's doing a subathon. We're gonna go see Kage. Oh, bitch. Oh my god, static! Brian is listening. Brian is here. Brian knows. We're gonna go see the lovely Kage boy. He is a very fantastic content creator. He's very high energy. He's funny as hell. His whole vibe is just like, I don't know how to describe Kage. I don't know how to describe Kage, but he's chill and you guys will like him. And it's his birthday today, so we're—
Listen, something really crazy's going on. I think we
Okay,
should...
I'm ready. I don't want to wait.
Dad?
I don't want to wait 5 to 10 minutes, and so I'm not gonna. How about that?
Dad?
My own rules. I do what I want. Welcome to my stream. Happy Friday. Hi. Hello, Hugo. Hi, Graveyard Moth. Hello to anybody that may be lurking in the shadows. I hope you have had a friggin' phenomenal Friday. And if not, that's okay, because now you're at camp and we're all going to have a great evening together. That's a guarantee. It's a Zombunnyyy guarantee. Hi, Duncan. Good evening, my friend. Welcome in. Happy Friday. I hope you were doing good. Okay, I tried to go for like a Mia Goth kind of look today, but my eyebrows need to be like way more invisible than they are currently. I need to get like a blonde eyebrow pencil or something, you know? They're too visible.
They're too visible.
Yeah.
Just don't wear them. Just smear them off.
No, because then I still have just this little bit.
That's true. You gotta have a wisp.
I have, unless I just shave my eyebrows off entirely, which I mean, they're already most of the way there. So what would be like just taking off the nub? Wouldn't do anything at this point. Only this. This is real eyebrow. Right here. Just this. Everything else is not real. It's an illusion. Okay, let's smoke weed and I'll stop talking about how my eyebrows are fake now. I'm excited to play the QUARRY. We haven't played in a little while. I keep accidentally skipping a week because it's always on Fridays and I want to do things on Fridays or something comes up inevitably. So I don't entirely remember what we were doing other than the fact that we're in the camp and we're trying to make sure Brenda's song specifically doesn't die. That's my only goal in the game. That's it. That's the goal. Okay, cheers. Just dying a little. Okay, I'm done coughing. I lied. Okay, now I'm done coughing. Locke, thank you for the lurk. Damn. I appreciate you. Happy Friday. This is the real danger of marijuana. Ugh. I will never stop. Okay, anyway, let's go. Let's go into the QUARRY. Okay, please to tell me at any point if the audio sounds shit, if I am too loud, if the game is too loud. You know, whatever. Okay. I feel very confident about my skills in trying to survive. Since I just beat Detroit Become Human and none of my androids died. I was very proud of myself. But I think I have accidentally killed 2 people in this game already. Though they were in the intro, so I kind of wonder if I would have been able to avoid it. I don't know. We're in Chapter 3, Trouble in Paradise.
Stupid game. What are we in middle school? Why should I even care? Anybody can kiss anybody. It's stupid. Stupid.
Oh, right. They were all playing Spin the Bottle and everyone got mad. Or Truth or Dare or whatever, and they were kissing each other. Oh, good. You're just walking around here in the dark all upset. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. I like this character. Which probably means I'll accidentally kill her. It's usually how that seems to happen. I don't like that. Who's looking at me? I hate it here. So I can keep going that way, but clearly I should go this way, right? Who is whispering? No, thank you. Girly pop. Oh my god, I finally found a tarot card. I haven't found any for the last 2 chapters, and that old lady has been giving me just like the most disappointed look every time I go to the in-between areas. Okay, so we found the tower, which is not a good card. Jump free of your troubles. Fight or flight? That's the question we all ask ourselves, but often when leaping out of danger, we're still faced with certain peril. Watch your step. It could be your last. Tight, tight, tight. What do I do with that? That's not going to help me. In this current moment with this woman who may die. Girl, you don't even have a flashlight. They be out here whispering.
You out here?
Nick!
Abby?
What
Shout
if we
again!
didn't?
I'm over here!
What if we didn't yell back?
Nick!
That's scary. Okay, okay. We are no longer
Hey.
alone. That's got to be better.
Hey. Hi.
You ran off.
Bro, what is making the noises out here? It got intense. I'm gonna be honest, Abby.
I think that game just got a little too intense for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We'll be cautious.
So, all that stuff back there.
Oh my gosh. Emma really wanted to make Jacob jealous, huh?
You think?
I mean, yeah, why the heck else would she kiss me like that?
True.
I was just playing along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just a game, right?
Right.
Oh my gosh, should we make out? Fuck yeah. Everything's fine. You just made it with someone else 20 minutes ago, but you saved me from walking around in the woods by myself, so might as well make out and then get murdered. Oh my god, Nick is falling for me. There's somebody breathing weird in the woods.
Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Should we look?
Mm-hmm.
No, don't look. Okay, we survived. Was making up the appropriate thing to do? Oh. We still need to leave. Tight. Why are we looking at this?
Is it another boar?
It's too growly.
That sounds like a goddamn mountain lion or something.
It's too fast.
We're gonna get cougar.
Run!
That is not a mountain lion. Nick, are you alive? You got yeah, we got hella mauled. Oh. Oh, queen. Oh, girl. I tried to help you, Nick. I'm sorry. Okay. Fucking, we're running, bitch. I'm not staying and hiding. Hell no. I gotta say, I don't fully understand what the button is telling me to do half the time, which feels a little unfair. Climb a tree. Bitch, get up that tree. I don't know if being up the tree is going to help us in this scenario. Hi, Amersu. Welcome in. Happy Friday. I hope you're doing well. I made out with this guy in the woods and then he got mauled. And now I'm climbing up a tree so I also don't get mauled. I don't know if going up a tree is a successful choice because this thing also seems to be able to climb pretty fucking fast. Now I may just be stuck in a tree with this thing. This may have been a mistake. Okay, Abby, we're good. Yeah, they're giving me anxiety too. I was bragging because I was like, oh, I did so good in Detroit Become Human. I'm gonna crush this with the Q Time events. But I feel like they're not as intuitive in this. Like, I don't fully understand what the button is telling me to do half the time. Oh, this is gonna be a keep quiet one. I'm gonna die. I'm so bad at the keep quiet ones. Okay, I got found last time this happened. Yeah, I started to try and play it initially with mouse and keyboard and like did not do well and switched to my controller and it seems to be better. So we'll see. I've only ever played Man of Medan and I got all the characters I like killed in that one. So I don't have a lot of faith in myself, but we'll see what happens. Abby's alive. I think Nick maybe did. I tried.
Game?
It's not you lost when you first began it. You got
I gotta get comfier.
you want.
Just gotta cram my feet up inside of my crisscross applesauce, you know? I need a bigger chair. I need a chair that lets me sprawl.
Going to stop. It's not going to stop until you wise up. No, it's not going to stop until you wise up. No, it's not going to stop.
Do you think this is a safe time to smoke a bowl, or do you think someone's gonna jump out of the water and kill him?
Technique needs work.
Hey.
I'm crying and I'm skipping stones.
Of course.
We'll see.
Sleeping down here was a little more fun when we thought we could get caught, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
Jacob,
you and me
I thought we
are
agreed
the same, cause weed is for brekkie and
Us?
weed is for
Yeah.
lunch. Weed is for me, and now I'm having it for brunch.
Thank you.
No.
That scared me.
I know.
I forgot that was Slash.
You just love having an audience, huh?
Jacob.
I mean, I can't believe you fucking Frenched him. You know, in front of everyone.
She
Jesus
did.
wept.
French, are we 12?
No, but
Jesus
Nick is.
wept.
Kind of. You know, I love the guy, but I don't think he's actually.
That's what this kid just said.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but he just had his tongue down my throat, and he definitely knew what to do with it.
Oh my god. He says, I'm over here
You really
crying.
love fucking with me, huh?
Lighten
I'm
up,
over here
Shanks.
crying, and you're just talking about getting tongue fucked by some dude. Carl!
You know
I mean,
what?
to be
Nothing.
fair, he also
Nothing, never mind.
destroyed the car intentionally to sabotage them so they'd all be forced
Fine.
to stay here another night so
You
he
can
could try and
stand
hook up
here,
with her
sulking,
again.
Driving
So,
yourself crazy imagining Nick's tongue in my mouth.
is this kind of karma?
Or
Maybe.
you can go grab us some towels.
Someone's gonna get murdered in the water. This is a fucking super red
What do you need
flag.
towels for?
Great.
Well, we agreed. So
Oh my
fun,
God.
right?
Don't get naked.
Apparently,
There's gonna be something in the
summer
water.
is not quite over.
I'm anxious.
Okay.
I don't trust it. Look at that! There's dead things in there, bruh. There would be at least one fish eating that guy, realistically here. I found another card! Oh my god, that's 2 in 1 chapter. That lady's gonna be so happy. The tower. Jump free of your troubles. Wait, no, we got that one. The star. Oh, it's the star. Stars in the night sky. Beacons of light. Dreams of hope. Purpose. Or a reminder of our insignificance. Fear of despair. Trust in the light of the star. With it comes clarity and sometimes proof. Alright. I'm looking for towels. What is this?
Huh. It's not long ago.
Why does everyone keep leaving out all these newspapers about people getting murdered here? You think they would like get rid of those?
I wonder if it was near here.
Probably was, man. Anyway, time to get murdered in the woods. Oh, that's a boat. I'm looking for a towel, man. Were you telling me they don't keep towels anywhere near the boating area? What's this?
Chackett and Thackett, huh? Oh, well, Chackett must mean Mr. H. Chris Hackett. Who the hell is Thackett?
Is Thackett the guy that's running around eating people in the woods? Okay, stop looking at the photo. I'm aware of the photo. Yes, I've seen it. I've established a clue. I think we need to go upstairs, judging by the way that his neck is doing one of these, like, things at the ceiling. We're going up. Don't worry, man. What are you looking at? Just checking out the lights. Okay, we got... What's this?
God damn it.
Dang, no towels. Well, it is the end of summer camp.
No towels!
None?
There's exactly 0.
You dick.
What the hell?
Just get back down here, Jacob.
Alright. No towels. We're just gonna get naked and cold.
What are these
Sailing
numbers?
rules. Dates? Those are how many dates and people got murdered. I'm putting money on it right now. What is it? Boathouse logbook. December 3rd, 2016. Oh. Wait, never mind. March 12th, 2016. What is that? August 24th, 2017? November 3rd, 2019. January 29th, 2021. And the second one is marked red. Alright. Any more tarot cards? What's this? Binoculars? Okay. Am I gonna see some man being fucking creepy in the woods trying to eat people? I'm looking for clues, y'all.
Whoa. Someone up there? Yeah, I'm gonna go with probably everything's fine.
Yeah, just get naked. Everything's fine. There's definitely not somebody watching you in the tower over there. Alright. No swimming without supervision sign. It's a clue.
We'll see about that.
It says, I'm gonna swim without supervision, bitch. I'm a rebel. This is a fridge. What's in the fridge? Nothing? Whack. Alright, girl.
Okay, well, I guess we could just, like, drip dry, or you could shake it out doggy style.
Wow, you really know how to talk to a girl, don't you?
Look,
Damn,
you can't
girl.
just pretend that it didn't happen.
Oh, but I can because you see. Oh, help! Help! I'm drowning, and I need a big, strong, not at all insecure man to come save me.
Oh my gosh. Cannonball, bitch.
Okay.
What's this? A female in need? Fear not, fragile thing, for Hurricane Jake is here! Cannonball!
Hurricane Jake!
Cold, cold, cold. Oh, cold.
Nothing says romance like a cannonball.
Hurricane Jake.
Oh, okay. Okay, now you're gonna get it. See?
Hey, switch! Oh, stop!
I'm nervous.
Rough.
I'm gonna splash her.
Attack!
Hey.
This is, I'm just staring at you naked and looking at dead people.
Dick move.
Okay, hey. Look. Check this out.
Okay.
Take a picture of me.
Yeah, for your, like, little subscribers or whatever. Top 10 guys who will keep you
Oh my God.
satisfied at summer camp.
Is this flirting?
Oh, so I get 9 more?
Is this flirting? Yeah, right? These kids have not seen enough horror films. Girl, get the fuck out of there. I'm anxious. I wouldn't be in the water even in the morning, even in sunlight, because fish. Girl, you get the fuck out of the water.
Emma!
Jacob, over here!
Why are you all the way over there?
What?
It was like a scream.
And
It
guns.
sounded like Abby, but like not the good kind of scream.
I can't hear you.
Okay, look, just hold on. I'm gonna go check it out.
What? Seriously?
Girl, get out of the water. What are you doing? This woman has absolutely no survival instinct skills. Get out of the water. Okay, we're back to Ryan. Okay, we're still at the campfire.
Fine social disruption there, Kaylin, I have to say.
Ah, or was it just the nudge that Abby needed?
You're an evil genius.
Abby's having a rough time right now.
Who do you think is gonna make the first move? Nick or Abby?
Ooh, good cue. My bet's on neither.
I don't know. Nick's got the beast in him.
If by beast you mean some sort of mild-mannered baby deer.
Hey, don't let that cute, preppy aesthetic fool you. It's like a steel barbecue grill under that shirt.
So, you noticed that too, huh?
So, what do you guys want to do now?
We can keep playing.
Yeah? Just the three of us?
It's been going so well. Everyone's been having a good time with Truth or Dare.
I sound like Abby.
Oh my gosh.
Someone's getting shot. Hi, Val. Happy Friday. Welcome in. And I hope you're doing good.
Abby! Help! Please! Nick! Help him!
I think Nick is fucking dead.
Where's Nick?
Go after Nick! Go!
Hell yeah, bitch.
Okay. I got this.
Hell yeah, get it!
That shotgun's got a hell of a spread. Be careful.
This is a terrible idea. Oh my god. Oh!
Okay. Alright.
Damn, poor Abby. Okay. Take shortcut, follow path. I'm gonna take the shortcut? I don't know if I feel... I fucked up. Well, that's not good. Now we're just in a trench and we've hurt our ankle. Okay. Okay, we're gonna follow the path this time. Well, that's some foreshadowing. Is it because I fucked up his leg? I really don't like that. Hello?
Hey! Get the fuck off of him! Stop! I'll shoot!
Is this the guy helping though? Because like he was the one shooting at whatever that was.
Holy shit, dude.
Oh, not.
Holy fuck.
Not.
Hey, can you walk?
Jack, gotta go. Gotta go.
Come on. Get back to the fire.
Oh my god. Okay, we got Nick back. Damn, I really thought that kid died. Is he a werewolf now? They said something about him having the beast in him, and he definitely got mauled by some fucking weird humanoid thing there. Okay, Jacob's running around in the woods without his clothes on because he heard Yabby yell, so he's probably also gonna get mauled. And you also just like left Emma alone in the lake.
Oh, Jesus.
We should have waited for her to get out of the water, and we should have both gone.
Jacob, what are you doing?
I don't have any shoes on, man. Like, I'm just so concerned about your decisions here. He's gonna get mauled by a fucking boar again. It's the pig. It's the pig. No, that's a pig. Don't fucking say anything to it.
No.
What the hell? That's not good. Use all your muscles, quick! Yeah! Get it, bud!
Shit. Fuck.
This guy got shotgunned. He says, nah, I'm chill.
Who the fuck are you? Fuck you, you fucking asshole!
Oh my god.
What the fuck are you doing?
Quick, do a pull-up.
God, son of a bitch!
Oh my god. Okay, we may still gonna get stabbed. I'm concerned.
Oh, what are you doing? Shh. Quiet.
Are we friends?
Helps if you close your eyes.
Oh, oh. What are you doing? Shh. Stop. Help. Help.
Tastes bad, don't it? It's for your own good.
What in the hell?
Where you off to now, girlie?
What did that man just pour in my ass?
What the fuck?
What the fuck indeed?
Fuck.
What the fuck indeed? I said, goddamn. Ooh, I found 2 cards for her. She's gonna be so happy.
And you're back to see me again. So, then, what have we got?
I did good this time.
It's the star. Stars. Stars in the night. Sky. Beacons of light. Dreams of hope, purpose, or a reminder of our insignificance. Fear of despair. Trust in the light of the star. With it comes clarity. And sometimes proof.
Okay.
The tower. Jump free of your troubles. Fight or flight? That's the question we all ask ourselves, but often when leaping out of danger, we're still faced with certain peril. Watch your step. It could be your last.
Okay.
Remember, there's always more than meets the eye. Would you like me to show you?
Yes, bitch.
Yes, good. But I can only delve deeper into one possible future. So which is it? Choose.
The star, the tower. I feel like the tower feels more foreboding. Okay, zipline equal death.
Back to it then. back to Hackett's Quarry.
Okay.
Back to Hackett's Quarry you go. Oh.
I'm going to pause. You guys are going to have a quick BRB. I need to piss. I'll be right back. Okay, bye.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, it's very sad. Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? I don't have time for this. You know how busy I am today? I gotta take my son on a trip. I gotta go kill a god. I don't have time for this. Get the fuck out. Just fucking. Bye. Can you do that? Did 911 not work? No. Did I just run at this man? I'm not supposed to be here. There's not supposed to be a chainsaw guy here. Oh, I'm gonna fucking vomit. I gotta go. Oh, nothing's safe. Nothing's safe. No. I don't have enough ammo for this. Sir? Kick her! I hate the chainsaw man.
Excuse me, this prompt was Jill Valentine, not Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Look, if it was Sora, his hair would look like this and his fucking feet would be like this. Okay, this is not Sora, and he would have a key sword. It's a rocket launcher. Ah! That was really well timed. You got me real good with the fart jump scare. That got me real fucking good. No! Don't leave. Don't leave.
My computer because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the stream.
I just got protein shake all over my fucking hair and my titty. I'll be right back. Damn, he kicked it.
Great.
I knew they were gonna do something. I don't like it. No. I don't know where to go. I'm inside this little weird house. What is that thing?
Didn't realize that was yours. I am flattered. But I'm a one-lady type of guy.
Oh no. The door's open. Yo, none of these doors open. No. I'm gonna get murdered.
Don't be.
How do I do this? How do I mentally prepare? I don't get my fuck. Once upon a
Okay, we should be back from ads. I am back from pissing. Okay, let's go.
The fun you'll have.
Okay, we finished chapter 3. We're on to chapter 4.
It was-
Don't
I
panic.
don't even know what it was. It was
Do
so
you have
fast,
your
and there
towel?
was
Do
there was
not
a hunter,
panic.
And it was just.
Oh, Abby. Here.
What?
Oh, try drawing.
Drawing what?
Oh, can you draw what attacked you?
Okay. Stop.
We're not going anywhere for first aid. What's happening right now?
Nick. Hey, buddy. Can you tell me what those guys did to you?
Mauled him?
Rusted.
He's super out of it. Yeah.
The hunter.
Yeah. There was a guy. There was something else. kind of animal?
What kind of animal?
No, I only saw a dude trying to take him away. He's probably just disoriented, that's all. The dude was massive and angry.
The dude did not do this to him.
Is Abby?
Yeah, hey, she's okay, dude. She's right over there.
Big claws. Teeth right on top of me. I think it was a bear.
Full-size bear would have crushed him. There's no way.
I thought we don't get bears around here.
No,
Oh, fuck.
Look at that. Oh, shit.
That black stuff? That's infection. And it's spreading. This is bad. This is really bad, dude.
I mean, yeah, he's covered in blood. Are we calling someone? Like, are y'all gonna just hang out around the campfire?
Sorry.
Okay, we only apply pressure if we maintain pressure, though, sweetheart. That's how first aid works. Once you start doing this, you can't stop.
It's okay.
Fuck, that hurt.
We need a tourniquet.
We should amputate.
We should amputate?
We should cut it off before the infection spreads.
What?
Buddy, we can't do that out in the woods. We're a bunch of kids.
You're
We need to go.
literally an idiot.
Hey, I'm just trying to help.
He just needs a doctor.
We need to
Proper
go to a
medical
doctor.
And a shrink, too, probably.
I can't remember much. I mean, I don't even know what I saw. Holy shit.
It's okay. It's still here. Don't worry. We'll all see it soon. It's a good thing we left Emma alone. In the water.
Hey! You got a gun! And I know how to use it! Sort of.
Ryan, what if it's Jacob or Emma?
What if it's not?
Well, then they'll say something.
Be careful.
I'm gonna shoot one of these fucking kids on accident.
It was probably nothing.
Yeah. But is it gone? Yeah, you better run.
Don't do that.
Very brave.
All right. So, Lodge is sounding pretty good right about now, yeah?
Oh, no, don't shoot, don't shoot. I'm here to save you.
All right, he got blood in his eyes. Where the fuck is Emma? You left Emma.
Nick. Is he okay?
Nick and Abby were attacked. In the woods.
Hey, does anybody have any dry clothes? I'm fucking freezing.
All our bags are still in the minivan.
Fuck, of course they are.
You left her at the lake. What do you mean?
Where's Emma?
Fuck! Oh, Jesus Christ.
I left Emma on the island, and I told her I'd be right back.
Ouch. Wait, the island?
Yeah, why?
No, I just thought I saw someone over there before.
Yeah, we've seen people there.
No,
It's
I don't
fine.
know, it's probably nothing.
I left her out there alone.
You did leave her
I
out
think
there
we're gonna
alone.
head to the lodge.
Also, why are you covered in what I hope is strawberry jelly?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's blood.
Yeah.
It was this guy with like, he had like a bottle thing. I don't know, dude. It's like a really long story.
Ew.
Yeah, no, it's super fucked up.
Everyone here is bad at
Gotta go get
communicating.
Excuse me?
Hey, I need this, okay? It's not safe out there.
Dude, we gotta protect Nick and Abby.
Yeah, and I need to save Emma, all right? She's out there alone.
You
don't even know if she's in
literally
trouble.
left her there
You don't
alone.
even know if you're in trouble.
Are you trying to piss me off?
No, I'm trying to save my girlfriend's life, asshole.
Yeah, I don't think she's your girlfriend, dude. What? Get.
Oh my god, you guys should not be fighting over a shotgun, and we are not letting go. Someone's gonna get shot in the chest.
mess here, guys. You're acting like pricks. Both of you. Jacob, we're keeping this. Nick and Abby are injured. We need protection. There's someone around here.
Yeah, so you just go run back off into the woods by yourself. I like that no one's like, there's someone around here, and this guy's like, yeah, I found a guy in the woods who put blood all over my face, but let's not talk about what they look like.
And what, risk another run-in with Captain Deliverance? No thanks, okay? There's probably another boat by the zipline. Either way, I can make it to the island from there.
Jacob is not smart.
We need to get back to the
He's
lodge.
naked and gonna get murdered.
How? Nick can't walk properly.
Hi, Barry. Welcome. Oh, you're from Threads! I am 420 friendly, if you couldn't tell. Welcome in. We're in chapter 4 of the quarry. Everyone is still alive. Emma is alone in the fucking lake.
Okay, here's a riddle for you. What's got and is suddenly riding solo
She died.
on a freaky island in the dark?
Oh,
This fool. Well, one thumb. One available.
Thank you.
Thumb. Okay. And it was here, in a strange, uninhabited island, that this brave young soul found herself.
yeah, the dab pen, I feel like that would be dangerous for me. I feel like I need it to hurt me a little bit so I can't smoke too much.
Okay, full disclosure, I've
You know?
suddenly found myself on
You know?
a
Hi,
strange
Adam.
kind of
Hi.
island
Happy Friday.
alone with
Welcome
nothing
in.
to
How are
do but show
you?
you guys around. So, there's a treehouse over there. I'm gonna go and see if I can dish out some of that sweet, sweet panorama.
I feel like anytime it's like a vape or a dab pen, it's like too easy for me to smoke.
Here's the thing.
And it become dangerous.
Not that I want to go back because I don't, but even if I did, I can't because then I'd look like the super needy one when he was
Something's
the one
gonna
who
walk up on her. I'm gonna throw up.
You know what? Sorry, I'm bending. Oh,
Carl!
bending.
Hi, Carl.
Okay, let's do it.
Happy Friday, my friend. Welcome in. We're quarrying it. Emma is alone on an island without any pants on and is like, hell yeah, I'm gonna record myself because this is a great time to make content. Everyone else is still alive somehow. Nick got mauled, but somehow making it. And here we be. That's how it's going mostly. And yeah, these are little mushy overalls.
It's the meeting shelter. It's a shelter where you meet at.
Obviously, this is the best time to make
I'm trying really
content.
hard to make this interesting, but sometimes a thing just is
I don't
what
know.
it is.
I don't know anything about anything. She's the one who knows.
I think I've made my point.
Aren't you cold? Don't you want pants? Oh my god. Barry! It's so nice of you. It just makes me want to play Dead by Daylight so badly. Thank you for the 50 biddies. Wow. Wow. That's very kind of you.
That you, Jacob?
That is not fucking Jacob. That man has clothes on. Jacob is naked and covered in blood. This is not good. Can I go faster? No. Good. That's fine. Just got one pace. Oh, never mind. We go a little bit fast. Like one way to die. Just ass out. Okay, I'm looking for
This
tarot
island
cards.
is like an unexcavated part of the quarry that rewilded itself after it flooded into the lake. Pretty cool, huh? You know, when I was little,
is that why it's called
I
the
used to think
quarry?
that islands just kind of would
I
float
actually did
in the
not
water,
consider that at
kind of
all.
like an airbed.
Until this point.
But I'm older and wiser now and realize that not everything's always as it seems. Kind of like how you thought you were just having a hot summer fling and then it turns into babysitting a big hairy man-child who's all sad because you don't want to go steady with him and write him love letters every freaking day. And
Girl, he was crying. Oh, he's honestly is not
why is
also
it up to
good.
me
I
to
don't
justify
know.
my feelings when he's the one who got
All
all
of
glum
these
about it, you know?
Teenagers are problematic. Young adults. I don't
Oh,
know.
look.
They're probably like
A metaphor in the
20s.
narrative. I mean,
Barry, I kind of play a little bit of everything, but I do a lot of horror games.
Here's
Friday
the
night
big
is usually
question.
horror games.
Do I take the high road, literally, and forget about it? Or do I continue on the path I'm on and keep ranting about my stupid dumb
I don't
I guess since this isn't live, the choice is up
feel
to
good
me.
about this. We're gonna go up. I feel like higher ground is good. Yeah, I love a good story as well.
do this.
What I like to do a lot of
The
like,
darling rustic vibes this walkway is radiating.
I don't know,
and that's
RPGs,
no accident.
first person,
I don't know what
single
y'all are
player
doing with your
stories, whatever you
walkways,
want
but
to
if
call
you're not
them.
spending a full hour pulling a splinter
But I'm like
out of a
all over
snotty
the
kid's
place, right?
finger,
Like we just finished playing Detroit Become Human
Don't worry, it becomes
yesterday.
I'm a good counselor,
On Tuesdays we
and
have started playing
doesn't
Cozy
kill you, will
Caravan.
make you stronger.
I go all over the place. We do all sorts of shit. I think the next stream that I'm going to be playing on Thursdays is going to be Mass Effect. I think that's what the poll was looking like in Discord the last time I checked. Yes, I did love Beyond Two Souls as well. That one's great. And not a lot of people know about that one. I played Heavy Rain as well. I haven't played Beyond Two Souls on stream. And I would replay it because it's been like a solid fucking 15 years or so. But I only have a physical copy of it now. I guess I could buy a fucking digital copy of it. All of the Mass Effects? I don't know. Maybe. I think we have at least 1 through 3. And they go on sale all the time, too. We'll see. I've heard really good things about those games, but I've never played them.
This is where we're heading. Not too shabby. Well,
Yeah, Heavy Rain is great. We play all sorts of stuff here.
These views, oh man, you're gonna blow your top.
I am glad that you found me on Fedsbury. Welcome in. You are now one of
You can
us.
watch me crap my pants on that thing. What the hell? I'm here, aren't I? I'm gonna carpe this DM so damn hard it won't know what hit it. But first, we gotta get there. And there's still so much to talk about. I hope Abby's okay.
We're going to
She
be
ran off earlier.
compassionate.
If you didn't see it,
Even though I feel like she's kind of
sorta made
cunty.
out
Maybe I
with
should
Nick.
lean into
But
that.
it was a dare. I'm not like a bitch or anything. Oh, and for context, Abby likes Nick. Well, actually, they like each other. In truth, I just wanted to fan the flames a little.
Mm.
Watching them stumble around each other like drunk jellyfish was exhausting. Poor kid was like a deer in headlights. It's cool though. They're smart. They'll get it.
She's
I
like
bet they're
mean.
out there in the woods right now, just absolutely going for it.
No, Nick got mauled. Hence the screaming. Girl, you ain't got no shoes. You ain't got no pants. You ain't got no phone charger. I appreciate how brave you are, but also, bitch, not
Hell
smart.
yeah, Batman.
Hell yeah, Batman. Where the hell? Oh my god, I can't see shit. Okay. Why are you holding your phone up straight? Why are you doing that? Look at her! She's just... What are you recording? There's no way she's got any viewers. She says this is content.
Oh look, car keys.
Okay.
Police car keys. I think this might be one of those, I'm sorry officer, I have no idea what you're talking about situations. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave those right there.
Huh. Huh. I can't go in there? Why can't I go in there? What else is around here?
And here we are, as promised, one extremely rickety and even more underwhelming treehouse.
This is where somebody was
In another
like
world,
at.
perhaps young Jacob and I
Right?
would settle down here and play house together. Honey, I'm home. What's that now? I forgot the children's bedtime. Well now, that's a fine how do you do. Take it all in, folks. That's the summer camp experience right there, and oh look, it seems somebody forgot to clear the place out. I guess one of the kids left their stuff, or maybe one of the guys back there? But I don't recognize this.
Oh, hell no.
Did you hear that? Looks like we have a choice on our hands. Do we snoop through someone else's belongings? Or do we open the spooky trapdoor and die a horrible, painful death? There are literally no right answers.
Girl. I'm going through the bag. I'm not opening up the trapdoor.
Bag
Are
it
you
is.
kidding?
And you know what? I'm putting some clothes on. This is all you're getting.
Okay, we're snooping. We're not running around anymore. Just in our bikini. Oh my god, we have a taser. I feel like that's very effective for the future.
Okay, so I think there's something up there.
I'm gonna go tase it.
And it is not gonna make me jump.
I feel
can promise you that.
significantly better about the situation now.
Goodbye, cruel world. The final curtain is calling and there's no time for an encore.
Girl. Use the taser. What the hell? Look at its teeth! Tase the shit out of it! Take a picture of it! Hell yeah. Content. We gotta go. I'm gonna die. I'm so glad she put shoes on. Oh no, this is how she died in the thing! I watched it! Oh no! Okay, it's fine. I gotta get the content before dying. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Sprayed in the face. Okay, so we're back in the treehouse. It can just get in the window. What is happening right now? Get the fuck out of here. Oh my god! Bruh. Bro, what? I don't think I blinked at all through that whole motion. I think scary looking. Its face is scary.
I got it. He's okay.
Are you in pain?
No, sorry. I'm really hungry.
It's because you're turning into one of those things. He's a werewolf. I'm calling it right now. That man's gonna die. He got bit, and then he got left. And they keep making weird comments about him having a beast inside of him and the things that he wants to eat.
Yuck, I hate granola.
Nope. He's a monster. I'm calling it right now. Oh, I found a tarot card. Nice!
This will open the nurse's station. Should be plenty of stuff in there.
Well, hopefully we can just get him cleaned up for now.
I'll get you something to eat.
You and I are gonna find a landline.
Oh, yeah. Isn't there one in Mr. H's office?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We'll come meet you.
Oh my god, excuse me.
Do you think that whatever attacked them out there is, I don't know, has their scent or something?
What?
Maybe. That's why that
What if
guy
it got a taste for blood and now
poured
it's
blood
gonna
all
track them
over
down?
Ryan. What?
I
Ryan's
doubt
face? Adam's face? I'm getting all their names mixed up.
just feel-
Who am I right now? This is Ryan. No, am I? Who? This is Dylan. Okay. Okay. Adam. Adam was the one who got shit straight all over
If
his
we
face.
stick with them, we're sitting ducks. I don't know.
I really don't think that whatever attacked them out in the woods is gonna get into the lodge.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're
He's already in the lodge because he bit
on,
that guy
let's go
and
call
he's
for
gonna
backup.
turn into one.
It's pretty weird to see this place so dead.
You never came down here at night while camp was in session?
What? No, did you?
A couple times, yeah.
Hell no.
Where are you going?
I thought I just heard my name.
And you walk
didn't hear
towards
anything.
it? Don't do that. Don't do that. Dr. Kraken Medic? Are you a medic? Did you know that bees are allergic to pollen?
I don't think Nick's injuries are as bad as we thought.
Like, wait, isn't that what they go and get on their butts? I'm confused. Are you a doctor or are you an entomologist? Also, welcome, man. Happy Friday.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
So what now?
We gotta call for help. Who should I call?
The police?
Mr. H?
The only number I got is to this phone.
Okay, then 911.
You mean 911? Who says 911?
You can tell because they develop
Anyway, yeah, but,
hives.
like,
Oh
what
my god.
should I ask
That was a
for?
good one.
Police?
That was good. That
Ambulance?
was good. You're not a doctor or an entomologist. That's valid. Call the cops.
Cops. With guns. We need a lot of backup out here.
So they'll say 911, what's your emergency? And then I say, help, my friends may have been attacked by a bear, or maybe not a bear, but
Yeah.
definitely an animal with teeth. And we're not sure how many there are out there or how smart they are, so it's very possible they might be mounting an attack on us right now, and we really need backup.
I would really focus on there's something that attacked my friend and he's bleeding.
That's good.
Can you send police and stuff? And also there's some guy in the woods who was actively trying to drag my friend away that I had to shoot with a shotgun.
Dead.
What are you? He just hung up.
Well, that's weird.
Phones go dead sometimes out here.
Right when you're about to call the cops, though?
He's being
It's a coincidence.
suspicious.
You try the hang up thingy?
What?
Here.
Yeah, just say bear, blood, and then you give them your address so they show up.
When the phone goes dead, you tap on the little thingy.
We're not in a movie.
Okay.
You're kind of in a
well,
movie.
You know, how do you know that? Maybe that's just what they want you to think, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so this phone's a no-go. No one has signal. Is there anywhere else in the camp that has a landline?
Well, not a landline.
Is there not like a radio or something, man? There's got to be a backup.
Radio
That's
hut has
yeah.
some old broadcast gear.
Where you do your announcements?
Where I curate my sweet summer jams, yeah, and where I do the PA announcements. It has some old equipment there. I think we could probably rig something up and get a message out.
All right, yeah. Let's head over there and see
Remember,
if
when
we can
outrunning a
contact
bear, you
that
only need
back
to be
there.
faster than the slowest person in your group. And that's why you stab him in the ankle first. That's valid. But also, did you know that bears can
I
run
will
up to
put it
60 miles per hour,
when
bro? That's
we're
fucking
good and safe
terrifying.
and help is on
That
the way.
means at any moment, a bear
okay,
could be in your house in an
careful
hour.
with it.
Facts.
In an
I'll be
hour.
fine.
That's
These
a
are facts.
fact.
Okay.
Fuck no! The lights are out!
The weather.
What weather, Ryan?
Maybe it
I
was
don't
the
believe in
bear.
masks.
Bear. And why does everyone blame everything on bears? Okay, so for the sake of argument, what if that bear that cut our phone line and just cut out all the power, what if that bear is waiting for us out in the hallway?
Fair point.
Thank you.
We should probably tell Caitlin that we're going to the radio hut. They're probably freaked.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
We're all very comfortable
leave
with
that.
everyone just having the shotgun. Like, at 18:20.
Do you think
I
she
wouldn't
really needs it though?
I wouldn't trust me with a shotgun.
We do.
If she's staying in the lodge, we're going out there.
You literally just said there might be something dangerous in the lodge.
When?
Like 20 seconds ago.
Okay, sure, but that's because I really wanted the gun.
Just give her
Oh
the
my
gun,
God, Dylan.
man.
I'm giving her the gun because my #1 rule is to save Brenda's song, and she needs to have the gun.
Hey, we'll still have mine. If you're extra nice to me, I might let you hold it.
Don't write a check that your ass can't cash.
My ass has got quite the bank account.
My ass has got quite the bank account. Got a line. Okay.
Am I interrupting something?
We're just fighting over this gun, which we are giving to you. My ass is broke. Fucking A. My ass is on unemployment.
Chin up, big guy. I wouldn't really know what to do with it, okay?
So I stay on my corner. No, wait.
Oh, thank you so much, Dylan. You're so generous and handsome. Yeah, no problem. Don't mention it.
Okay, we did stuff. Everyone's alive. Okay, we're back to Emma, who's out here taking pictures of content and running around, tasering scary ass shit, and is now stuck in a treehouse. What now, girl? You're in the treehouse. No, you're gonna. Oh, God. My tower card showed her, like, dying from that, though, right? I don't feel good about this. I feel like you're just here for the zip line. Oh my God. That'd be such a good one. I love Tim Robinson. No. I'm scared. Shit! God! Where's the taser? Okay, we fallen, but we didn't die. That's fair, Carl. He's pretty fucking weird. I think he just has like such a dry way of delivering that it just gets me. I don't know what else there is about it. I appreciate really dry humor. He did a movie with Paul Rudd called Friendship, which was like very good, but it's more of like his awkward humor, but like kind of airing into like a dark comedy kind of horror kind of vibe, which is maybe better. I don't know.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
It's definitely some awkward humor for sure. And a lot of yelling. And like his emotions do this. I don't know.
Strength can be surprising.
Found one card this chapter.
More power, tapping into a previously unknown energy. I suppose there are forces at work within us all. And with one hand it gives, and with the other it could rip away. As always, there's more to see. And as always, the choice is yours. Would you like to see more?
Show me, ma'am. Oh, we're almost at the 100 mark for this new bot counter. Okay, it's Nick strangling someone.
So it's goodbye again. I'll leave you with this. Remember who your friends are. Remember who's looking out for you.
Like, what are my favorite Tim Robinson sketches? I'll have to find some clips and post them in the Discord. Because my favorite is definitely the one where he puts on like the full old man outfit and then just has an absolute fucking
Paul Havoc, my man!
meltdown. Sensory meltdown in the mall because it's so fucking relatable. I just don't want to be here anymore.
Hey, I couldn't find anything to eat. The kitchen's pretty cleaned out. Oh shoot, I left my bag. I brought you this.
Is anyone gonna clean this fucking poor man up and give him proper first? He got blood everywhere.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay. I'll be okay. Thanks to you.
No, I just helped a little. It was...
I wonder if he would have lived if I hadn't grabbed him.
You're here with me. That helps.
What up, Brenda?
All right, they're off to find a radio or something.
What's with the,
they found another in Mr. H's office, so just in case.
Yeah.
What happened to the lights?
Not sure. Any better?
I'm doing okay. Kinda.
I don't trust this
Wait,
man.
Are they going to the radio hut?
Phone's dead. They're gonna try to send out an SOS or something. We're holding down the fort.
I don't like that.
Did anybody else hear that?
Shh.
I thought you said Dylan and Ryan already left.
Wait, stay here. I'll check it out.
We don't know what's out there. It could be dangerous.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna check it out.
I mean, Nick understands because he's been mauled. He's the only one who really gets it. Oh my god. Okay, we are now Caitlin. Our girl Brenda's song. I'm gonna be so upset if I kill her off. It's literally my only goal to not do that. No, keep it out, Queen. I don't... Everyone's just walking around in the dark? I don't think I can. I mean, I guess I could technically reload a previous chapter if I really wanted to play back through again. I'm not going to, though. That would be dishonorable. I'll just cry if I kill Brenda and end stream. No, I'm just kidding. It'll be fine. Because it's not going to happen. Because she's going to live. Because it's going to be fine. I got this. Lock in. Bruh. I don't know how I feel about this guy. I don't think that he's evil. He hasn't really been trying to hurt anyone. I think that he's trying to hurt whatever the fuck these things are. He did take a shotgun right to the chest like a pro, though, in a concerning kind of manner. Right, like, he didn't kill Adam when he had the chance. He smeared that red blood all over him. Yeah, he does give off kind of like Tucker and Dale versus Evil vibes. 100% Carl. It's a great movie. And
No sign of him.
he was clearly what was shooting at the monsters, right? When it was attacking Nick. And I think that he was trying to help Nick. Or maybe he was trying to kill him. I'm not 100% sure. Damn, that guy is glistening. Why are you running back up there? Oh my god, why'd you run up there?
Oh, fuck.
Oh no. Girl! We just lost the shotgun. Caitlin.
Hey, so this may not be like the best time per se, but like...
What?
Okay.
Yeah, so
she's
like,
still
I was just,
alive.
you know, thinking about like the start of summer and when we first met and the start of camp and well, like now that summer's over and you know, is that like the last time we're gonna see each other, you know?
Sorry, Nick, what are you saying?
Hey, don't worry about Caitlin, she's tough.
I know. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm just distracted. Let's just get through the night, okay?
Maybe I was misreading the situation back there, but
He says, if I hadn't gotten mauled,
what was gonna happen?
would we have gotten to second base?
Well, did you want a little bit more to happen?
Dude, are you dumb?
Hey.
Sorry. I just
Guy.
mean, of course I wanted it to happen. I just didn't know if you did too.
That seems like such a long time ago now.
You did want it to happen though. You can tell me.
Buddy, this
Yeah,
does not feel
I
like a
guess.
really good time for this.
You're just saying that because I'm hurt.
Oh my god.
Nick. What is going on out there, Caitlin?
Some shit?
We've died. We've died.
It's okay, I got this.
What are you? You are literally bleeding. Now he's got two guns, but I don't think he's gonna hurt us.
Oh my god.
What happened? Jesus, where's the gun?
We gotta get out.
No, we have to hide.
We're gonna hide. I don't think this guy's bad. Watch me be wrong and get everyone killed. I'm just going with what my heart says, and my heart says that guy's not that bad, okay? Stop popping out. Oh my god, this woman. I trust people who wear overalls without a shirt, as you should, Carl. Trustworthy individuals. I don't know if that's actually the best marker of trust, but I do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, it used to be more of a actual radio station actually. You know, I mean, it is still technically, but nobody brings their radio to camp anymore.
Yeah.
It's weird actually that there used to be kids with their radio and their portable CD player and everything, and
They're in the woods.
you know, nowadays everything we need is on the phone, but this
I like them chunky. Chunky. It scared me. Becca, I was scared. Hi, happy Friday. Welcome in, friend.
So is
We
that something
are on
like,
chapter
that you wanna
5.
go into?
We have not killed anyone yet.
No,
I
like,
am fucking.
DJing
Am I
or
in
music.
charge of where we're going?
Oh.
Bitch, I can't see shit.
Yeah, I mean, I like music, but I think I want to major in quantum physics.
Brenda's song is still alive. But we did lose her shotgun.
Yeah.
You don't really seem like a science guy.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, not here.
Okay. Are we going the right way? I feel like no, based off of based off the invisible wall I came across there. You know. No, it's okay, my friend. Oh, you have a party tomorrow. That's exciting. Have you been up baking? I'm sure, getting everything all ready. You missed one character getting mauled by one of these scary ass things in the woods. Our boy Nick, but he's still alive. And then there's some deliverance looking tail and Ducker Dale and Tucker. Dale and Tucker versus evil looking guy walking around here being very menacing with his multiple guns, wiping blood on people's faces.
I'm sorry. I'm so completely fascinated by this. What do you mean by not here?
Not here at camp. I do that at home, and then here I
You're a wise cracking smartass.
That's a little harsh, but
No.
okay.
He says,
so
"Yeah, this is
maybe
just my
I was a little
persona."
nervous when I arrived in an uncomfortable social situation, and I overcompensated a little bit by making a bunch of jokes.
You played into it.
Yeah, I mean, people kind of enjoyed the blasé Dylan.
And do you enjoy the blasé Dylan?
Not yet, like, you know, whatever, man. It's pretty cool. It's fine. I like Dylan.
Oh, no baking.
Well, it's
That's
nice
totally
to
fair. Make it easy for subs and cookies. It's your dad's celebration of life. Oh, Becca.
actually,
I totally understand. I can
Yeah, I like
understand that maybe like a very complex kind of thing to prepare for. Make it as easy as possible for everyone involved. I'm glad you are here to chill with us before your big day tomorrow. Okay. Is this a clue? Letter to the camp nurse.
So that's why Nurse Kelly went out.
Suggesting she take a day off early.
Really?
Oh, interesting. Camp Hackett, or Mr. Hackett is very sus. Yeah, recharge, absolutely. That is what the online fam is here for, right? Nope. 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 Where's the shotgun? Stop it. I'm gonna throw up. What is this? Bruh. There's just some claw marks all over the outside of the building. Oh, it's good. Yep, take some pictures of that.
All good?
All good.
All good.
Okay, we're going into the radio tower. Radio hut, whatever.
Oh, this place is kind of a dump, huh?
Okay, when I was a camper here, it was barely working. It hadn't been used for years, and it took me a really long time, actually, to get this place cleaned up and looking the way it is. So,
Yeah.
sorry if it's not up to your standards, but I've been putting in a lot of TLC.
Okay. Okay.
Let me get this set up.
Anything over here we can use?
The power tools? No. That's Mr. H wanted more storage, so it's kind of how he lets me keep the station going.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So, how far does it go?
Oh, well, it was designed just to broadcast to the PAs around camp for announcements and to, you know, portable radios and whatever. So I think the range is about a mile.
A mile?
How do you even know?
Oh, my batteries die? That's weird. Fucking whack. Okay. Hold on 1 second.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to dance for much of this, but I'm gonna try to get through like at least the first day. Tell me if the mic is not good enough because I can't. There's only so far the camera goes. I'm trying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things.
Once upon a midnight dream, well, I thought I can't do it all. Yeah, the roulette was really good. I'm
This asshole again.
Fuck me. So, do I just shoot him a lot? I really don't have a lot to. You know what'd be cool would be like any of those grenades. Do you think he's gonna run at me? I'm sorry, is there more than one? Just, he doesn't know I'm here, but like, do you think if I knife this? We're good? Oh my god. Where did you fucking come from? Can I make my head really tiny? Just a really tiny head and a huge body. Everything bigger. I'm a scary priest. I look like the singer from, or that dude from Cannibal Corpse that we were talking about with the thumb neck. I'm becoming swole. It is basically picking my favorite death scream. Should I make her really hairy? Nah. Hell yeah. I look intense. I'm gonna fuck somebody up. You gonna step to me? That was incredibly effective. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. You're a little bitch. It's time to die, boys.
cook stirring often until most of the fat is rendered out, and you have little brown, crispy beef bits. Now turn off the heat and add 5 cloves of garlic.
Still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
Okay, I'm back. I got batteries. I got a snack. I want peas. Win, win, win.
All this stuff.
I just kind of picked it up.
The technical stuff has always been a little hard for me to get a handle on.
Well, if you like, I could show you the ropes.
Like a class?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's easy. Like climbing.
Sign me up, teach.
Anyways, this thing's gonna need a bit of a power up, but that's where this comes in.
Dust magnet.
It's supposed to be a signal booster. It's kind of janky looking, but it's worth giving a shot.
I'm sure we have to put it on the roof where I'm gonna get mauled.
We can actually talk to people with this thing?
Yeah, well, it's not a two-way radio, so, you know, we can talk, but then the best we can do is switch it over to the receiver and see if anyone broadcasts anything back, which is unlikely.
Okay,
but...
cheers.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. So what should I say?
Just like make it sound urgent.
Okay.
Somebody got mauled. It is urgent.
Hello, how's it going out there? This is, we need help. This is, we are counselors at Hackett's QUARRY summer camp, and there's been a horrible accident, attack, some stuff bad here. We need your help. There is a swarm of bears, and they are everywhere, and there's these hunters too, and they seem to be shooting at the bears, but also at us, which is not good, and a few of our
Swarm
friends
of
are
bears.
hurt, and we are in desperate need of help, so please, there's
Too many
vicious
bears.
and we
And on
don't
the
know what to do, so please,
seventh day, the Lord
come
created
help us,
bears.
SOS. This is
It's
an
too many
emergency.
bears.
You have to
Needed
save
to
our ship.
dial
Come
back on the
down.
bears.
Please help us. Did I do good? Was that
swarm of bears?
Yeah.
A swarm of bears is not
Horde
really
of
the mood.
Yeah, I've heard of bears.
Stop.
All right, I guess I should just like switch this over.
I would
to the
strike him.
receiver
No,
and see.
just kidding.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out while you do all this.
How dare you say a pun to me right now?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Hell no. Don't wave at that. Do not wave at that. Lock the door.
Check it.
Wait, did he say launch?
I don't know. Hold on.
Another couple unaccounted for. Copy that. Out.
Like, I know that sounds super suspicious and like
about us.
they want to kill us, but I really think they're trying to save us.
We just told them on the fucking radio. Fuck. They know where we are, man.
We can't stay here.
We should not go out there.
Hey, let's stay calm, okay? Let's go find Caitlin and everybody, okay?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
No, 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 no.
Why didn't you tell me that there's something out
there? I wasn't sure, man.
Fuck, what the fuck was that?
I have no idea.
We can't leave this place. Y'all should bar the fucking door. Maybe the window. I mean, there's too many windows, so you're fucked either way. Maybe don't bar the door. You might need to leave quickly. Maybe attract it so it jumps through the window at you, and then you run out once it's in the building, you know? The old loop-de-loop.
Is it a bear?
It's not a fucking bear.
Bears can jump like that.
I'm gonna throw up.
What is that?
Fuck.
What?
Caitlin, Abby, and Nick, they're coming up the path.
Oh,
Open the door
They're
and
coming
say
toward us.
no.
We gotta warn them. What about the PA?
Up top? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can tell them to hide or something.
Oh, fuck, no. Oh, shit. Hold the button.
Caitlin, get into a building now. Do not come up here. There's an animal outside the radio hut. Just get into a cabin now. Go!
Okay.
Oh, fuck, dude.
They're gone.
Okay. So they're in room 10.
What now?
Okay, is there anything we can do?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just an animal, right? I mean, maybe we can scare it off?
Well, yeah. I mean, if it has hearing like a dog,
Use the PAs.
maybe we can play like a really high pitched
Totally.
feedback loop and just blast it.
PA
and I mean, it would hurt like hell, but you know.
Do it.
Make its ears bleed. Go.
Okay, come on, Dylan. Let's do this. Come on. It's almost.
Hey, Dylan, just take a breath. I'm sure you can figure it out.
Okay, yeah. Right. There's something missing. What's missing? Oh, crap. It pulled the wire.
Oh, shit.
Fix it. I'll cover you. Do it now. Go, quickly.
Oh my god.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Oh, fucking spreading. You have to cut it off. Cut it off. Cut it off.
What do you mean, cut it off? I don't have any. I got a gun. You want me to shotgun it off?
Just hang on, hang on.
Why is there a conveniently placed chainsaw? Why didn't we use the chainsaw against that? Oh my god.
Yes, fucking do it. Fucking do it.
Not the groovy tool.
The wire, get the wire, get the wire.
What?
Get the wire.
Saved a friend from
Yeah, get it.
infection.
Plug it into the thingy.
Keep pressure on.
Oh my god, man.
do I do? What do I do?
The button, the button.
That man would be in shock.
Oh, he blew the speaker.
Did the
Okay.
trick. Nice work, Dylan.
Tourniquet, 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 tourniquet. No one knows first aid. We need to cut her as we need a tourniquet. Dylan, you do not have a hand.
Oh, fuck, my hand.
Yeah, babe. Yeah, there's the shock.
Hold on.
Why did you do that?
You told me to.
Oh, it was a bad idea.
I mean, it's pretty fucking insane. Okay, so my theory about Nick being infected is correct then, and that he's 100%.
I don't know. That thing's gone, but we heard those hunter guys on the radio.
That was fucking
What?
Picked up the
wild.
walkie signal. They knew we were here.
Fuck, you get a message out?
I'm not sure anyone heard it.
Great. What the hell was going on at... Oh my god! Dylan, what happened?
Oh, I'm okay. I mean,
How is it not bandaged?
I'm not. But it doesn't hurt.
Okay, you're in shock. Holy fucking shit. Did that thing do this?
No.
Nah, I did it.
Well, sorry.
We gotta go. Why are we all just standing here?
One of the friendly locals wanted to say hi.
What the fuck?
Did she shoot at us?
No.
Who's there?
Who was she?
Should we follow her?
I can't believe his hand has just been lopped off.
Oh shit, Dylan, what is that? Oh my god.
Someone's fucking dead. Who is it? Is it Emma?
If I was fire, it would be the rainfall. If I were the stars, you'd be these city lights. If I was a moon in the sky, oh baby, I want your cloud come and darken my night to be where you are.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Oh, you're back. Looks like that's one less vermin in the world. Let's take a look once.
Who's dead?
No cards means no reading. Simple as that. Keep looking, though. There are still cards to find somewhere out there.
Oh, Carl, that sounds
We
lovely.
spend
I hope you
so
have a
much time
fantastic
looking toward
walk.
the
Good night, my
future.
friend. Happy
It's easy to
Friday.
forget that the past holds secrets too. Worth remembering that. So it's goodbye again. I'll be here. I'll wait for you.
We've completed chapter 5. We're now on 6 prayers by night.
Emma! Jesus Christ. Jesus! Fuck!
Bug. Jacob's still walking around with pants on. No, Jacob. Don't do that,
Emma,
Jacob.
is that you?
It is not Emma. Okay, I'm looking for tarot cards and also to not get murdered. You feel? Okay, this is where Emma was last, and we got chased all over the place.
Yeesh. I'm gonna fall off this.
That's some foreshadowing.
Well, that bodes ill. Fucking hell.
Is that a camera? Now take a picture of your junk. Oh, I found a memory card. Okay.
Maybe there's something on here.
Smart to pop that out. Let me just put it up my butt. For safekeeping. Since I don't have any fucking clothes on. Oh, I found a card. Justice. Okay. Not like the whispering. You don't like it?
Oh, God, Emma! Ah, Jesus Christ!
Oh my God, no way. Am I glad to see you?
Yeah, that's fair. You shouldn't have left her. That was pretty fucked.
You left me back there, you asshole.
God, Emma, come on.
That's valid.
What the fuck is going on?
Look, I don't know, okay? Some, like, bear attacked Nick and Abby back there.
Yeah, me too, but it definitely was not a bear.
What? Who? When?
It's a good thing I snapped a picture of it.
Sorry, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, barely. I mean, that thing that attacked me at the treehouse was like...
What? It was like what, Emma?
A monster.
Like out of a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it was probably just like a bear trying to defend itself, you know?
Don't be a dick. You know it wasn't a fucking bear.
No, you're right. And now we have these fucking the hunters running all over the place. So that's a fun new wrinkle.
Those guys are
They
chill.
did this to me.
Yeah, that's all they
That's
did.
a lot of blood.
Yeah, well, it's not mine.
They said to keep it on.
Got quite the funky bouquet.
You probably want it on your face too, Queen.
Okay.
Okay, we've got to get out of these woods.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
You know, Jacob, you don't have to be a dick about literally everything.
I came in so hot, trying to help
Hey,
her.
You know what? You're right. Okay? You're right.
Come on, Jacob.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're so annoying.
Oh my God, can we please not do this right now? Okay, seriously? I literally came looking for you as soon as I heard there was something out here.
Or things, like plural.
There's probably things.
Wait, really?
No. It's because you guys have been standing here screaming. my lord. Sorry? You gotta go get her! I'm so stressed out right now. You really leaving again? Go back and get her!
Ah, fuck! Ah, shit! Ah! Ah!
No, I'm gonna throw up. What do you mean pull free?
Fuck! Shit! Look, you could.
Okay, they're no longer being friendly. I've changed my mind. I don't think they're nice. Holy shit. Okay, we're back to the dead person floating here. Who is this?
Is she like one of those hunter dudes?
I don't think so.
Should we do something?
What can we do? She's dead.
I mean, with the body.
That's Kaylee Hackett.
Mr. H's daughter? I thought she went home with her brother.
Kaylee. Yeah. I thought so too.
Oh,
This is
man.
wild.
Poor Kaylee.
Nick.
You smell so good.
Nick is not okay. Yes, intervene.
You all right there, bud? Maybe dial it back a bit, huh?
Fuck off, Caitlin.
Whoa.
Bud.
Nick, what do you...
He's gonna bite you.
Taste you.
Oh my god.
Come here.
Ugh, Nick, what the hell? Ugh, get off! Ugh,
No one wants to help?
Get off!
Okay, so Nick is infected.
Are you okay? I just wanted him to stop.
Nick, dude.
Hey, it's okay. You're okay.
I got you.
What did I do?
I don't know.
He's so cold.
Okay, let's get him in the pool house. Dry him off.
No, no, no. No, no, no. He gonna eat you.
Just try to rest.
I'm sorry.
Quit moving so much. It's pretty clean from what I could tell. I mean, it's not bleeding. But you need to see a doctor. Look, this is all I've got left from the nurse's station.
Ooh, fun.
You better hope we find you some real help before they wear off.
Oh my god.
We need to be keeping a record of everything that happens. For the police.
Yeah. Dead girl in the pool needs some explaining, huh?
Easy, man.
I mean, like photos, whatever we can. I've got a funny feeling the cops are not going to want to believe any of this crazy shit unless we've got some hard proof.
From now on, if you got your phone and you see something, take a photo or a video or whatever.
Hell yeah. Content.
You okay over there, Abby? Look, why don't you look around and see if you can find anything to help make Nick more comfortable?
I wonder
What's
where
this?
Caleb is.
Well, that's creepy looking.
This place was so different like 12 hours ago.
Okay, what else we got? Anything else? Guess I can go in this room over here. Never mind, this is a shower. Success. These are all showers? So one of them is gonna have something. Oh, look at that! Found a tarot card. I think that's 2 in this chapter so far. Okay, nothing else. Okay, what else can we do to make Nick comfy? Not really much of anything around, man. Like at all. Would you like to see a spooky child's drawing, Nick? I can give you that.
Here, that better?
Thanks.
Hey.
Yo, something is not right with that boy.
Mm-mm.
Dude is real sick.
Did you see how he freaked out in the water?
Yeah, he was like a fish out.
Okay, so they can't swim.
Right.
Sure.
You know, something was weird when I tried to clean his wounds, too, at the lodge.
What do you mean?
Well, all of his clothes were bloody, but I couldn't find where he was bit, or scratched, or whatever. He just kept moving around, like he didn't want me to see how badly he was hurt.
Huh.
Huh.
Rabies?
He's not frothing at the mouth.
I think Abby would beg to differ.
Point.
Yeah, isn't aquaphobia a symptom of rabies?
Hydrophobia, yeah. But I think it's more about a fear of drinking, not just getting wet. This was like
my cat in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Abby,
Yeah?
can I ask you something?
Oh my god.
Of course.
Stop getting so close to him.
Hustle. The early bird catches the worm. Whoever sleeps in goes to Starbucks.
Please.
Hi, Adam. Happy Friday. Welcome in. I hope you and Dee are good. How do you support a werewolf's YouTube channel? Like and subscribe. Oh my god, that's so good.
Such what?
This guy's not doing okay.
Such a cop-out answer.
Bro, he's gonna bite you.
Abby,
What?
I've got something to ask you.
Girl.
Yeah. Okay.
Why don't you like me, Abby?
You're being weird right
Nick.
now.
You're different.
No. Just Nick. Good old big dick Nick.
What the hell?
I'm sick, Abby. Why don't you care about me?
I do.
Abby, back up.
You're not really very smart, are you? Poor stupid Abby.
Girl.
Easy pickings. Right off the bone.
This isn't you. I mean, this isn't you.
Don't let him bite you. Girl.
Abby.
Abby, everything okay?
No. Glad you guys are having a quiet Friday. I'm having an intense Friday. That guy is not good and he's gonna eat Abby. Yeah, sorry, babe. The budget Sprouse twin. I don't think that's stopping him. Girl, I think we're gonna shoot him again. Girl, I think we need to shoot him again. I'm sorry, did all of his skin just pop off? I'm sorry, did all of his skin just pop off? What just happened? Where did he go? He just shook all of his skin off. He just shook it right off. He just went. Yes, ma'am, it did. He just shook it off. I knew that boy was not right. Oh my god. Okay, I think I'm gonna just try and live until the end of this chapter. And then we may wrap it for tonight. Yeah, that's called the... I don't even have a name for it, Adam. I got nothing. The like and shake. Cleanse.
Okay. So, if I were a counselor at an off-season camp, partying around a bonfire, and it started to rain, and there were monsters, I would go to the lodge.
Yep. Oh my god. Okay, we're just you hanging out. Do we have any tarot cards while we're hanging out here? What's this?
Ryan's stories again.
Alright, Ryan's
I
sus.
had no idea kids were getting freaked out about this stuff. We officially suck as counselors.
Ghost stories about getting scared. Okay. I was really out here looking for a tarot card, but I guess I read that and that's alright. I don't know how this lady has any battery left on her phone. She's been recording herself for hours.
Gotta get out of here.
She does seem to be quite fierce. I'm surprised she's survived as much as she has. She keeps getting left in stupid situations, and she's honestly doing pretty good. No, thank you. Are these stairs? Oh. Oh. Oh, hi, Glebe Glorp. Hello, Raiders. Welcome in. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me quick look into her face. How was your stream? What were you playing today? Were you doing Overwatch tonight? Oh, hi, Pumpkin Thing. Welcome in. Did you do good? Did you win? Thank you so much for the raid. Hello. It was good. Yay. I'm so glad. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, hello. Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Bunny. I am a variety streamer from Canada, and I play all sorts of scary games and shit. Currently, we're playing through the QUARRY for the first time ever. We're in Chapter 6. Somebody just shook all their skin off and burst through a window, so shit's getting really intense right now. You know, you had a 6-game win streak. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. If anyone here does not know the lovely Glebe Glorp Soup, this is otherwise known as her friend Ghost Host Lauren on her new account. Please go give them a follow. It's a very cozy little outer space PNG tuber theme, and it's very nice, and I like it. Yes. Let's have a little raid rave to welcome in our lovely friend, Glebe Glorp, and all the raiders that she brought with her. If you guys would like to party with us for the raid rave, you can do so by spamming whatever emotes you feel like. Or you can just sit back and enjoy the vibes. It does have a little bit of flashing imagery. So if that's something to your sensitive, so if that's something that you are sensitive to, it's only about a minute long, and then we're going to get right back into the QUARRY. Okay? Yeah, go ahead and piss. Pissing is important. Okay, let's party. Which raid rave should we do? Let's find out.
Live or die.
Ta-da! We did it. Oh, it didn't quite switch over in time. Yes, that's that one. Thank you so much for the raid. If you need to go do any post-stream cleanup stuff, or if you need to go feed yourself, or if you just don't want to be in front of your computer anymore, please feel free to do what you gotta do. I appreciate you bringing all of your friends over to the pumpkin patch. Welcome to the QUARRY. We're trying to keep Brenda's song alive. This is not Brenda's song, so it doesn't matter if she dies. Loki funded DVD farm. Hell yeah. Good for you. Gotta get those fart jars saved up. That was so fucking funny. Oh, is that a noose? I don't like that. What do we? No, I don't want to walk there. Gotta farm them farts. Yeah, they've added like jars of fog clouds into Dead by Daylight, which is basically just a fart that you can carry around in a jar, and I love it. And I upset both the killers and the other players in our lobby last night until they begrudgingly joined our side. Only Brenda's song. The rest can be picked off. That's true. I don't care about anyone else but Brenda's song. Am I going the right direction?
This place is a lot harder to navigate at night.
Yeah, girl. It's a good thing you got pants on, though. So you're doing way better than Adam. Or Jacob, or whatever the fuck his name is. What? I did up! This is bullshit. Okay, and we just keep walking like normal? Good. That's fine. The light rain is really making my computer upset. Oh my god! We gotta go faster. We gotta walk faster to the cabin. We gotta...
Because you know.
Come on, do it.
I've never done this before, Pop. Let's do it fast. That's it.
Yeah, we don't want them to cut it. They are hunting them in the woods for sure. I'm not running.
God damn. God damn these fucking kids. Son, what?
What do you mean? Why do you find me? No!
Hey,
Come on!
Stop squirming. Give me the train. Is she bit, huh? How am I supposed to know? I don't know. Let me look at her. Nah.
Get the fuck away from me!
Oh.
I like the big guy. I'm okay with the big guy.
Caitlin! Ryan! Abby!
No one is here. Stop screaming. Go back to the other guys. They have guns.
Safe.
It's because it's not safe.
Abby? Ryan?
Girl, stop yelling. None of them are in here. I don't like this either. Are we just sleeping in here? Okay, they're back in the pool house.
I killed him. I killed him.
Abby, you did not kill him. He
I
exploded.
mean, dead people don't usually jump out of windows and run into the forest.
Abby, he was gonna hurt you. You were defending yourself.
I don't know that for sure.
I do.
He threw you across the room, Abby.
It it was you or him. And, well, that definitely wasn't him.
Man, this is so fucked.
Hey!
Oh, shit.
Where the fuck is Chris Hackett?
Who's there?
I need your help. Please.
Who are you?
My name is Laura Kearney.
They would have whipped her head off! Like, oh my god.
Safe out here.
Yeah,
I have
there's
no
a crazy
doubt.
woman with a gun killing people.
I'm not killing people.
Holy shit, Laura Kearney? You're Laura Kearney?
Yes?
You were supposed to be working, helping out in the nurse's office, right? And you never showed up? You and the guy, what's his name?
Max?
Yes, Max. Yeah. Mr. Hackett said that you had changed your mind last minute. I think that we should listen to her inside.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna open the door slowly. Just.
Yeah, those were the two in the
okay?
beginning. I remember now. I was like, I thought she was dead, so I'm confused. But I guess Max got mauled pretty bad. Oh, shit. You look pretty fucking rough. She lost an eye. She looking like a fucking mercenary here. Was at the end of the chapter. Okay, what a twist.
Here we are again. Just you and me. Why don't we take another look at what you've found?
Hi, Pumpkin. Hi, are you cramming yourself underneath? Okay. Yeah, David Arquette is in this.
Justice.
He's suspicious as shit.
An eye for an eye. Not exactly in some cases, but cause and effect. Actions and consequences. There's a balance to everything, and we all play a part in making sure the scales aren't tipped.
And the moon.
The moon. How poignant. Tonight of all nights, to harness your fear and anxiety and turn them into intuition. If you can do this and plan ahead, your cunning might just save your life.
Is that her making all that racket, or is that Danny? That's Danny.
Would you like to
He's setting up
delve
for
deeper
Warhammer
into
and making tiny
one of
men in the
many
background.
possible futures?
I don't know.
Make your choice.
Might be.
Yeah, you should do that. You haven't done that. I'm gonna wrap up here pretty soon, so I can come hang out with you. I want to get to the end of the chapter, which we are now. What in the hell? Okay.
Off you go then. Top, top. One down, remember. Isn't that terribly exciting?
Okay, we made great progress. I think we can say we've lost a person, though. I think the man who exploded is officially dead to us. You know? I don't know. There wasn't a body, because he kind of, like, I mean, he turned into something scary, and then he shook all of his skin off. And then he exploded out a window and ran into the night. So technically he's still alive, but I don't think he's really, like, the same person that he was anymore. I think he is whatever the fuck these things are. Werewolves? I don't know what's happening. It wasn't a person I super liked. I haven't lost Abby or Brenda's song. And I haven't lost Emma, who I also like. I kind of like Nick, but he was kind of just like meh, you know? Where the hell have you been, Loca? Yeah, he's alive but not alive. What do you mean you can't leave yet? I'm leaving right now. Look at my eyes. Look at them. They're pink. So are we. Well, then we're just going to raid train together, my friend. We're going to go choo-choo. I mean, we'll just choo choo away unless you have someone else that you would like to go to, Locke. But I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm fucking leaving and you can't make me stay. I'm sorry, and I love you. Let's go see Otto. Good night. Thank you, Locke. I appreciate you. I hope you had a good stream too. Okay, we're gonna go see Otto because my eyes are pink.
Yeah, they are.
I gotta take out my contacts. I have to go be nonverbal with my husband now and eat many snacks. You understand. It's very crucial. Yeah, it's a good laugh, right? He got a great laugh. It's a good laugh. No, don't rape me! Listen, I love and appreciate you, Geeks Plus Media. But we are going on a raid train. The other half of Locksteady's stream tonight, our lovely friends, Geeks Plus Media, thank you so much for the raid. I hope that you and Locke absolutely destroyed Marvel Rivals. And I hope that you and your raiders are excited to raid on in a train with me. On to our lovely friend Optimus Prime. I don't know what the fuck he's playing right now. Oh, it's his 6-year anniversary subathon. Look, my eyes are pink and I can't speak English. I gotta go. He's playing Mistfall. I don't know what's happening. It looks like Elden Ring or some MMO or some shit. Anyway, I love and appreciate you. Mwah, mwah. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. If your eyes are also pink, take out your contacts. Drink water. What in the hell is happening with my audio right now?